On June 30th, 2022, I released a video where I attempted to beat Cyberpunk 2077 without killing anyone. While the video was honestly just a joke and a parody towards channels who are known for doing ridiculous gaming challenges, I got a pretty good amount of support from the video, including comments that really warmed my heart, and I really do appreciate it. But I also got a couple of comments saying that I could have technically continued the run, since when I was forced to kill a lot of people, I was playing as Johnny Silverhand and not V. Therefore, it should not count. And honestly, I never really took that into consideration. So this time, not only will I be going through the challenge once again, I will not be counting Johnny's sections since they are just memories and not in the current present. So now, I am here to ask the question, can you beat Cyberpunk 2077 without V killing anyone? The rules from my previous video do still apply, however, I will be going over them again so that way we're all on the same page, and I also will be adding a couple of more rules to just spice things up a little bit. Rule number 1. Under no circumstances am I allowed to kill a person. It doesn't matter if it's exploring, doing a mission, I cannot take a life. Rule number 2. Non-lethal takedowns are allowed since it does not kill the enemy, it just puts them to sleep temporarily. Also, to know if it is a non-lethal kill or a lethal kill, when the enemy is on the ground, if you see them moving around, that means that you did a non-lethal attack on them. However, if they are just still, that means they're dead. Rule number 3. NPCs I have with me are allowed to kill. This includes Panam, Rogue, Jackie, etc. They can kill, but I cannot. Rule number 4. Robots, drones, and mechs do not count since they're just robots, so it's okay for me to kill them if I have to. However, people with lots of cyberware are not an exception to this because they are still a human. This rule I'm going to give a big shout out to Frank by Daylight because he suggested that I do a no alcohol playthrough as well. There are many times throughout the game where you are offered a drink, and for most of these dialogue options, you have the option to say no. So if I'm ever given the option to drink alcohol, I have to say no. So thanks Frank for the suggestion, I really appreciate it. And rule number 6, I can have a weapon on me with the non-lethal weapon mod. However, I can only use it if I absolutely cannot get past a section without killing someone. And every time I do this, I will give myself a point, and at the end of this run, I'll rack up local points which will go towards some sort of challenge or donation. I don't know. I haven't really figured that out, but you guys can let me know in the comment section. And you probably also noticed that this video says part 1, and that's because I plan on dividing this challenge into several parts. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. 1, because I just don't have the time to sit down and do an entire playthrough in one sitting, especially when I might have to wait for a while in sections in order to proceed. And secondly, I want to go as much in depth about the run as I possibly can, talking about my different strategies, different attempts, the experimentation. I want to give you guys as much of the experience as I possibly can. So, for those reasons, I will be dividing this challenge up into several parts. I choose to play on very hard, and I do this because from my little experimentation I did, NPCs that you can have deal more damage on higher difficulties, or at least it seemed like it did. So, I'm going to play on very hard. I might change it down to hard if I absolutely need to, but we'll just see what happens. I go with Corpo once again because it's a very short intro and there's no risk of having to kill anyone. I spend way too long customizing my V, and I distribute my points. I decide to go 5 in body so that way I have more health and stamina and more time to grapple someone before they can break free, 5 in tech for armor increase as well as being able to craft and upgrade certain gear, 6 in cool since stealth is going to be a big part of this playthrough, as well as maybe we can get some special dialogue options to prevent something bad from happening. I might upgrade reflexes later if I find it necessary, but for right now I'm just going to keep it at 3. And intelligence is not that important since I'm not doing a cyber deck run, so for right now I'm going to keep it at 3 and I have no plans of upgrading it later. And with that, it is time to start the run starring the 3 of us. V, myself, and Russell.
Oh yeah.
Russell.
Give some big boy Russell some sugar.
Russell.
Wait, what? What's going on?
You're supposed to say your line.
Oh, sorry. I forgot my line.
How did you forget your line? Your line is literally one word. It's just Russell. You just say Russell. That's all you got to say.
Well, you know what, Gary? Maybe I don't want to say my line. You ever thought about that? You ever thought to ask me if I wanted to say my line? You ever thought to ask how I was doing? To pretend that you even care?
Look, listen, man, all right? Just say your one word for the video, and then I can go back to what I'm doing, and then you can go back to what you were doing, okay?
All right, fine. Let's do it. Take 2, everybody.
You don't do that, that's what I do. And with that, it is time to start the run, starring the 3 of us. V, myself, and...
What are you doing?
The intro is pretty straightforward. I throw up the gas station sushi I had for lunch earlier, ignore Frank, have a casual conversation with Jenkins that leads to me taking a hitman job. Wow, what a 180. Ignore Carter and get into an AV that Jenkins let me borrow for the afternoon. Upon habit, I grabbed the glass of champagne, realizing that I was not supposed to drink alcohol through this run. After a quick reset, I resist the urge to grab the glass, and instead I decide to listen to the news. Zenyatta calls me even though I've blocked 5 of his phone numbers, and I land on top of Lizzie's bar to meet up with Jackie. I tell him that I have to kill someone and that I need help. Luckily, these Jehovah's Witnesses show up, convert me to their ways by force, and they take my flash drive that has 2 terabytes of Overwatch Rule 34. Don't ask me why there's that much. I pass out in disbelief, and now the intro is complete.
Your new life, it starts now.
The beginning of Act 1 sets us up with a mission to save Sandy Cheeks. I shoo away an old lady once again, open a door by seductively staring at it, and I'm given the task to take care of this guy. While I don't have the time to watch over and take care of him, I do have the time to give him a quick bear hug and toss him gently into the fridge. After everyone is tucked into bed, Sandy Cheeks has been found and looks like I interrupted a reenactment of the Titanic. Sandy gets taken away, and we never see her again. I decide to give Wakako a quick call on my Nokia, and she warns us that Watson is in quarantine, and now Jackie and I have to get back ASAP. On the way back, this van wants to do a little street racing, and never mind, they want to kill us. I poke my head outside and I just stare at them. I point my gun, but I don't fire. They get so intimidated by this that they actually killed me. I set the game to hard temporarily, and then I realized that I could just heal while I was being shot at. Their van hits a wall, freaking dumbasses. Jackie pulls a nat 20 on a charisma check, and I eventually get back home and decide to go to sleep and dream about sheep and rainbows or whatever pacifists dream about. I'll wake up the next morning, put on some drip, ignore Frank, and meet Jackie outside. Jackie and I go for a little spin while following every traffic law in America, meet up with myself once again. Listen, I know it's not me, just let me dream. Pet the cat. Get some quick plastic surgery from Vic. Pet the cat. And end up in a car with T-Pain to talk about a super secret job. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Gary, this guy betrayed you last time. How can you trust him? Don't worry, guys. I'm a man of second chances. Sure, T-Pain killed me and left me to die, but who knows? Maybe he's a changed man. And plus, this is round 2. He can't be the imposter 2 times in a row, right? That'd just be ridiculous. After our discussion, I'm given 2 different tasks. I can either talk to the Maelstroms about the flathead or go talk to the client Evelyn over at Lizzie's. Last time I did the Maelstroms first, so I thought I would change it up. So I proceed to go to the Maelstroms first because I misclicked. Freaking A, bro. In the previous video, I used a trick that allowed me to get a lot of eddies very quickly, so that way I could just buy the flathead once again and not have to worry about fighting Royce or the Maelstroms. However, since the release of patch 1.6, that trick no longer works. The only other method that was known to me was to do this glitch that can let you duplicate sold items and buy them back and get a lot of money. But 1, I don't know how to pull this off, and 2, even if I did, I feel like using a glitch just was a bit scummy. The trick that I did previously was in the game, and it didn't require weird glitches. So, I was getting mentally prepared to have to run around for hours just to get enough scrap to buy the flathead. And thank the Lord Almighty that this individual left this comment that said you can take the money chip with the virus, get rid of the virus, and warn Royce about it, and the 2 of you can make a deal. In my almost 300 hours of playing this game, I did not once crack the chip to remove the virus because goddamn I wanted to smash Meredith. However, I would much rather do that than have to run around for who knows how long. So I decided to give Meredith a quick call and we meet up to have a quick discussion. After I pass her lie detector test with flying colors, we make a quick little negotiation. I grab the chip from her and I head up to All Foods and meet Jackie there. Now it's time to go inside and have a civilized and professional discussion with Royce. After I stick my pistol that I pulled out of thin air into Royce's face, he takes the chip and runs it through Norton security, and now we are buds.
You just take the damn bot and get the fuck out of my factory.
Everything was going well until...
What the shit?
That's right, an ambush. Militech is coming and Dum Dum offers me and Jackie a way out. We get about halfway and now the fighting starts. Even though this whole thing did not happen without a fight, this actually is the second best option because at least I have Jackie and Dum Dum with me for the whole sequence. The two of them go and wreak havoc while I sit in a corner. The room gets cleared and we proceed onwards. Jackie and Dum Dum pick everyone off one by one and I sit in a corner. Now we are at the garage. There are a lot more dudes and there are now mechs. Luckily, Royce gets into his mech and he dominates. Dum Dum and Jackie shoot a never-ending amount of bullets and I once again sit in a corner. Yes, I'm going to be sitting in corners a lot and it's just as boring as it looks. Trust me. While this is all going down, I'll bring up some information that will be important for the run. The NPCs I have are going to stay primarily in my general area, so if there's someone rather far, I have to advance forward in order for the NPCs to get closer and fight what they are shooting. I could technically just sit in the same spot and let Jackie snipe with 2 pistols and do a couple of ticks of damage every 10 minutes, but for my sanity and time, I'm just going to go with the first option. After everyone is taken care of, Jackie and I leave and we run into not Meredith, but instead talk to Anthony. That's right, the man who was locked in Meredith's truck. Like I said, this is the first time I've had this conversation with him. I give T-Pain a quick call and now it's time to head to Lizzie's and talk to Evelyn. While I make my way to Lizzie's, I do a couple of assaults in progress by just simply running through, grabbing whatever the dead dude is carrying, and skedaddling on out like nothing happened. After spamming the skip dialogue button, I get to experience my first brain dance for like the 50 billionth time. This part is absolutely the most boring section in the intro. In fact, the whole intro itself gets boring, especially after doing it so many times. I do wish that maybe there will be a patch in the future that lets us skip the intro entirely if we choose to do so. Like, I love this game, do not get me wrong, but after going through the same brain dances, having the same conversations, performing the same heist that fails every single time, it does become almost a chore to get past this part of the game. Anyways, the brain dance is over, so I'll stop complaining. It's now time to get the ball rolling, and we all meet up at the afterlife to go over the plan for the heist. More dialogue skipping. Jackie and I get picked up by a robotic Uber, and we head to the Konpeki Plaza. After the two of us are settled in our room, I control the flathead and send it to the location of the hotel's netrunner. After the flathead takes a number 2 on the poor individual's face, I sit on the couch and wait patiently until it is time to steal the chip. Now it is time to steal the chip. Jackie and I head up to the top floor. I take this unique pistol out of habit, open a freezer that was in the floor, and now we have the chip. Well, the case is... We have the case, but the chip is in the case. The chip is in there. Looks like somebody is coming, so now we have to hide. And we all know how this goes, so how about we just do a few more dialogue skips, right? We've all seen this happen. The two of us make a break for it, only to be caught by a helicopter, and this leaves us with the only option to go for a quick slide. Well, Jackie's hurt, but at least the case is okay. The case is not okay. We have to make our way to the elevator, but there are lots of guards since Code Red was initiated. Last time I did this, I went through performing non-lethal takedowns, and that's exactly what I did. I really did not change the strategy at all. And it took way less attempts than before because I actually know how to do this part in stealth now. We finally make it to the elevator, only to be greeted by a crap ton of guards, but Delamain comes in clutch and saves the day. Now, we do have drones chasing us, and I finally get to use my gun. Wow, my aim is pure ass. After the drones get taken care of, Jackie disconnects from the Discord call, and I make my way to T-Pain's room at a hotel. Now, I remembered what happened last time, but things are different now. Alright, let's just see what happens. T-Pain, you really did the exact same thing for a second time. After I get fed a bullet for breakfast, everything goes black, and I'm reminded that this is Cyberpunk 2077. This starts the first sequence where we play as Johnny, and like I and some of you have mentioned, this does not count, so let's just have a little fun, shall we? Well, after that manslaughter, I almost escaped only to be stopped by the man himself, Adam Sandler. After some more dialogue skipping, we get teleported back to V, who is currently at a dump. I crawl through some trash, watch the imposter get what he deserved, and now I am in a car with Takamura and I'm just holding on for dear life. He lets me take a hit of his vape and I get ambushed by some motorcyclists. I get handed a gun and I initially was going to do what I did previously and just not shoot them. However, doing this will cause Takamura to die and I get sent back to my last checkpoint. Every single time. It didn't matter what difficulty I was on. It happened every single time. So I decided to shoot randomly, not hitting the enemies at all, thinking maybe as long as the game thinks I'm shooting, it may count. However, that did not work either. I tried shooting only one round, and that also didn't work. But for some reason, only firing 2 is the requirement to progress, and the rest of them either explode or the last guy Takamura pins into a road sign. And if we really want to get technical here, Takamura was responsible for the deaths of all these guys. Takamura runs over the first 2 guys, the 3rd guy gets knocked off his bike because Takamura hits him, the 4th guy doesn't know how brakes work and he slams himself into the back of the car. If anything, he's just a dumbass. And the last guy with the blades gets pinned by Takamura. If anything, this guy's the murderer, and I'm just the passenger holding a gun that's the equivalent to a Nerf gun. I'm given the option to finish the last guy off, and this is the first time in my Cyberpunk history that I made the decision to not pull the trigger. Guys, believe me, it was really hard not to. I get a ride to Vix and get to experience what surgery is like in first person. I wake up with the absolute worst news of my life. Trust me, it was pretty bad news. I get brought back to my place of residence, have a civil conversation with the inner demon in my head, Mr. Keanu Charles Reeves, and this is going to conclude Act 1 as well as this part of the video. Now, I know this was probably not the most exciting part, but hey, I'm already further than what I was previously, and don't worry, I do have a good amount of Act 2 already recorded, I just have to write the script and edit the footage. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please make sure to leave it a like, tell me your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe so that way you'll be notified when I upload part 2, as well as other videos on the way. Thank you all so much for watching, and without further ado, my name is Gary the Prophet, and I will see you in the next one. Later.